Our goal is Bitcoin meme coins should be the de facto place to trade meme coins. I think, we can look over in the Solana ecosystem and there are a lot of network effects there. But it's also kind of like a dumpster fire. In a way.
Yeah.
And so can we create a superior experience? Can we mirror the ethos, the decentralization, the security of Bitcoin in creating a meme coin platform that is the best meme coin platform of all time? Degen should be holding Bitcoin. They should be stacking sats. They should find ways to continue to stack more sats, and it should be on the world's greatest, most decentralized blockchain.
Bob Bodily, welcome to Bitcoin Season 2. This is the first time I've had you on, and you've had a storied career in the Bitcoin ordinals world, and you've shipped several products, and you've been like the guy for ordinals and broader Bitcoin education. But recently, you put out a runes-focused meme coin platform called Odin.fun, which has gotten crazy traction out the gate. Let's forget all the stuff that preceded this. Let's jump right into Odin. What is Odin.fun, and what's it doing right now?
Yeah, Odin.fun is the fastest way to trade Bitcoin tokens. I emphasize speed. It's the speed of Solana with the experience of Bitcoin. And it really is blazingly fast. Me saying it, I don't think you can really understand it until you're there clicking. And there's a little segment, like sneak peek for the viewers out there, but Guitar Hero, Through the Fire and Flames, the beginning riff?
Yes.
Okay, then imagine, me, clicking. You can do purchases that fast on Odin.fun. So sneak peek to some content that might be coming in the future. But yeah, very, very, very fast way to trade your Bitcoin tokens.
Which is crazy because this is, I would say, in direct contrast to what is kind of an intractable challenge for Bitcoin tokens basically to date. And we can talk about that in a second. But I want to talk about just what is the user experience on Odin.fun? Why is it different than the previous token trading experiences?
Yeah, we use a lot of the fancy crypto buzzwords like chain abstraction, account abstraction, session keys. If you follow the abstract chain launch from Pudgy Penguins on Ethereum, you'll have heard all of these things. But essentially, it means you can log in with your Bitcoin wallet directly into Odin. No new wallet, no new tokens. You just sign in with Xverse and you're ready to go. You have an account. From there, you deposit Bitcoin into the platform. We use some threshold signing tech in the background to secure all of the Bitcoin assets. And then once you're in, then basically you can trade, buy and sell. We've taken a lot of inspiration from token terminal type projects.
Which I've heard of, but I'm not super familiar with.
Similar to Photon on Solana, where it's more of a pro trader meme coin experience. If you go to Pump Fun, it's like your eyeballs are going to bleed out. And
there's too many weird fonts, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to decipher, actually.
And I think that might be intentional. That's kind of the vibe they're going for. We wanted to go for a little bit more of a premium vibe. Going from Solana to Bitcoin, I think, necessitates a bit of a premium upgrade. And I think that's what we're trying to do with this product. And so being able to log in directly with Bitcoin, you don't need any other token. You pay all of your fees in Bitcoin, and you can withdraw back to Bitcoin L1 whenever you want. I mean, that's everything you want in a meme coin platform.
Yeah, and to the user, they just log in and it just works.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because you and I talk about a lot of what happens under the hood of these things, and we're familiar with the warts and the design challenges of how do you even solve the problem of making something that works for the modern user. I actually want to have you try to explain to me how this works. So let's let's go back a little bit, because the audience here is probably a lot of people maybe from CoinDesk who aren't really intimately familiar with the landscape of runes markets, and why is it hard to trade runes on Bitcoin L1? Why is it hard to all these Bitcoin meme coin design schemes? Why are they just structurally difficult to make work?
Yeah, runes and BRC20 are the largest fungible token standards on Bitcoin, and they're UTXO based fungible token standards. That means they live within Bitcoin UTXOs, and there are essentially off-chain pointers that tell you where the tokens live. And so it's a meta protocol, and meta protocols live on Bitcoin just like ordinals. Since January 2023, when Casey released the ordinals protocol, we've seen dozens and dozens of meta protocols come and try to do all kinds of things on Bitcoin. And I think meta protocols are a really interesting space because they give you essentially unlimited off-chain compute. It's like a baby step toward a roll-up in a way, because you get the compute side, but you don't really get the speed. And so that's the downside of these protocols, is you have to trade at the cost and speed of Bitcoin L1. You're also limited because you don't have smart contracts on Bitcoin L1. You just have Bitcoin script. And without opcat or other opcodes, you don't have covenants, so you can't do what you need to do to have smart contract-like functionality. And without smart contracts, turns out you basically just have PSBTs, or partially signed Bitcoin transactions, in order to facilitate atomic swaps. And so that makes AMM-based trading almost impossible. I don't think it's actually impossible, but it's very, very, very hard. And even if you pull it off, the user experience isn't that great. And so that's like the history of the last 2 years of people trying to do all of these different kinds of things to enable a fantastic token trading experience on Bitcoin, but it's just hard.
And so that's kind of where we were. There's been a few people who've done like similar type of things. Like, you lock up some Bitcoin, you lock up some runes, and there's some kind of like off-chain or some second layer where you swap these, but they've had like pretty quick and like not sustained user bursts. But I think Odin, just by my cursory evaluation, probably has been the most successful to date of all these, and it has the easiest user onboarding experience. I'm just speaking subjectively, but my own experience. So what did you do? Like what is actually happening to the tokens? Why don't I have to wait 10 minutes for a swap to happen?
Yep. Yeah, so early November of last year, me and my team got together. We had previously built an L2 ordinals marketplace. So you could bring your ordinals in, and similar kind of thing to what Odin's trying to do. You could bring your ordinals in, you could trade them, you could do all kinds of new, interesting, innovative things. Really hard to get traction with ordinals on the L2 scene.
User bootstrapping problem is so difficult.
So hard. In fact, this is why this is the hardest nut to crack.
Yeah.
And so we went back to the drawing board and we said, we have a great team. We've built lots of great products. We have lots of great expertise. And like, what is it that we need to build? And so we talked about our technical advantages and our architecture and what we wanted to build and what kind of traction and what the market needed. And then we settled on, Pump.fun was having a tear on Solana. I don't know, $1 million a day, $2 million a day, $5 million a day in revenue.
It's so much money. They've been printing like crazy.
They've been printing.
And even though it's like Memecoins have kind of died down, it's still printing.
Right. And we have had probably 4 Memecoin seasons in the last 2 years. I mean, NFTs are just kind of like, and then it was like ordinals. So we decided on building this Odin.fun product. And it's basically a nice blend of, like I mentioned, chain abstraction, so you don't need any other token. You can pay fees directly in Bitcoin. And we leverage all of this on a layer that I'm calling Valhalla, which is like my cultural abstraction for what's actually under the hood, which is a lot of ICP tech. And so when users deposit Bitcoin, the Bitcoin goes into a threshold signing setup. This means that all of the nodes have a private key share. They don't have the entire private key, and then 12 of them together can create a valid signature that can then control user assets. So all of the runes, all of the Bitcoin, all of that is being held securely in this threshold signing setup. And then we have smart contracts, and things are settling on the ICP layer. And that's essentially how we have 2-second finality on all transactions. There's no MEV. There's no sandwich attacks. There's no sniping or man in the middle attacks, because you can't. I guess that's a separate thing. But that's all enabled by this layer that we have just above the Bitcoin L1 layer.
Let me tell you about one of the most slept on opportunities in crypto. Arch is building fast, composable DeFi apps on Bitcoin. Arch apps tap into the OG blockchain with by far the most liquidity and best brand in crypto. I've known the team for over a year. The tech they're building is solid, and they are racing towards mainnet. There's dexes like Saturn, Memecoins on FunkyBit.fun, instant loans on Cha-Ching, and so much more. Plus, they're rewarding testnet users, so join me in trying out Arch while it's still early. So you've solved for this, and you've gotten like crazy traction. Before I hit record, you told me the amount of volume you guys are doing. I don't know if you want to say, but it's massive compared to the landscape of other runes exchanges.
Yeah, in the last month, we've done probably about 150 BTC in volume. The first part of that was probably the first week or two after launch. It basically went everywhere on I would call it the Western world.
Yeah.
You know, all the ordinals, people knew about it. You know, everyone was talking about it there. And then in the last probably 3 days, we've had kind of a resurgence, probably in the eastern part of the world. A lot of BRC20 users, a lot of growth in the China ecosystem. And so we probably did 75 BTC in volume initially, and another 75 BTC volume in the last couple of days. So
I'm amazed you are standing awake, able to have this conversation. Again, this is February 26th. We're in Denver, in ETH Denver. I don't know if this will go out in within the week, but these things move so fast that by the time we get this out, the entire landscape could have changed. So, listener, this is a snapshot in the middle of the week of late February. But part of the whole thing of the Bitcoin meme coin craze is frankly unlocking Chinese degen money. That is that's the holy grail, because they've been the main drivers of transaction fees on Bitcoin in the past year, mainly BRC20 mints and bids.
Yep.
And you start to see traction on Odin. I mean, drop me into the middle. You have now had 72 hours of Chinese and Asian influx. What is this teaching you? Where's your head at right now?
Yeah, the community is amazing. I've been, I got Telegram Premium. They have an auto translate, so I can jump into Chinese chats, and they're all translated in real time into English. So I can actually, interface there. I just write in English, and I hope that they're going to, handle it on their end. But the community has been fantastic. They're all really excited about Bitcoin meme coins, and having a platform where speed is a priority. If you get into the heart and soul of a meme coin trader, you need to be able to enter and exit positions quickly, because information can change in seconds. Seconds can be the difference between a massive win and a loss for a lot of crazy, hyped tokens. And so having to wait for 10 minutes for your sell to go through is not an acceptable trade-off for the Solana ecosystem, or for people that are actually in the trenches doing this kind of trading. And so on Odin, being able to in 2 seconds do whatever you want, add liquidity, remove liquidity, buy, sell, create a token, it's all just really, really fast. And so it appeals to the need of the DJ heart
brain,
and soul.
The reactionary knee-jerk lizard brain.
Yeah, if you want to buy something, you should be able to buy it. And if you regret it, just sell it. And it should all happen in 3 seconds to calm the mind. Oh, I can buy it, and if I want to sell it, I can just sell it. And if you want to nuke the chart, you can just nuke the chart.
I think one of the more interesting things, I think we can get into maybe the nuts and bolts of how Runes itself works here, is the way you've addressed how you get these runes onto Bitcoin L1. I won't explain it. You've come up with an interesting way to placehold these names. Explain from the start how what the problem is,
Yep.
and then how you solve this by issuing these runes on the second layer and bringing them to 2.
Yeah, so our goal was, let's let people create tokens at the speed of light, essentially. Creating a token should be as simple as clicking a button. And with runes, that's a problem, because with a rune, you have to commit, and then you have to wait 6 blocks, and then you have to reveal. So that prevents anyone from mempool sniping the name that you pick. The bad thing is you have to wait an entire hour to trade this token that you're creating. And that was not acceptable for us. Speed was number one priority, speed and user experience, and so we could not wait an hour for tokens to be created. So we tokens can be created really, really quickly on Odin.fun because they're on this other layer, like I mentioned. Think of them as like Odin-specific tokens. And then once a token bonds, so you can buy and sell along a bonding curve, which if you don't know what a bonding curve is, it's like imagine like a e to the x type graph, and you can buy tokens and price goes up, or you can sell tokens and price comes back. So you can move up and down the bonding curve as much as you want. It's a common liquidity bootstrapping mechanism from the pump fund. And then once it bonds, meaning it reaches a 1 BTC market cap, which is a really nice thing because we're a Bitcoin platform. So you reach a 1 BTC market cap, and then you graduate from the bonding curve. You take 20% of the tokens and 0.2 BTC, and you lock it up in an AMM. And this is locked liquidity that can never be removed, so you can always trade the token. When you can trade tokens like crazy, you really want locked liquidity because it always gives you, again, as a trader, you want to be able to buy in or sell whenever you want to. And so locked liquidity is important. And that's when we etch the token to Bitcoin.
And what is that? So I actually think it's pretty interesting because you also have to solve for the issue of etching the token back on Bitcoin. If I'm looking at Odin.fun, I'm like, wow, that token's taking off. I can go front run the name of it by etching it before Bob's Odin platform does. I do think it's kind of interesting because you do actually solve for this.
Yep. Yeah, so we treat the long runes ticker more like a vanity contract address, which honestly I think is what it should be.
That's kind of how Casey initially concepted it. He was actually very clear. The ticker itself is just an idea.
Right. And so we give you 10 characters to pick your ticker name. This is like the short ticker. This is what it will show up on, in tier 1 exchanges, et cetera, as just this name. And so for the runes ticker, it's that name, dot, and then we have an ID, and then a dot, and then we have a 4-character ID that is unknown. So it's just, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then dot Odin. Just like Pump Fund includes pump at the end of all of their contract addresses.
Ah, yes, yeah.
So you'll know if something comes from Odin, at least theoretically. Someone could spoof something if they wanted. And so it's at the time of etching that essentially we have a smart contract that decides what those 4 characters are. No one else knows. And then we have this decentralized etching process leveraging a threshold schnorr signing setup. And so it's essentially, again, a bunch of nodes that can collectively sign a schnorr signature. You have to have a schnorr signature to etch a rune because we have an image that needs to be an ordinal. And in order to inscribe an ordinal, it has to be taproot. And so
I actually had missed this component of it because you've got the image and the token.
Right. Okay, if you were just doing the token, you don't need.
It's a normal.
It's just a normal transaction. But if you have an image, then that means it has to be an ordinal, which means it has to be taproot. I tried to get Casey to allow a witness script hash.
I remember I was right there in it. I was like, Casey, I support this with Bob, but he just didn't. Yeah.
So it has to be taproot. So this threshold schnorr, I've been pushing for this threshold schnorr setup to be built, and it's live and it's fantastic. So we can actually etch the rune directly from the smart contract with this randomized character. And so because it's 4, it's like 26 to the 4th or something, potential options. And so you would have to basically steal all of those, which is going to be, I don't know, millions of dollars and months, if not years of Bitcoin block space. And so that's how we prevent front running and still have a valid ring.
So you just sped through the TLDR of this really, really quickly. I'm very impressed. I think the one thing that I am just surprised about, again, I feel like I'm looping on this. You've been very good at the deep technical Bitcoin discourse. Whenever a new thing happens in Bitcoin, BitVM comes out, some new signing scheme comes out. You're within hours. I actually try to beat you on this sometimes. Within hours, you do a pretty first blush breakdown of how it works. But yet you've built a platform which abstracts all of that from the user. Can you just talk to me about the importance of being deeply technical and how Bitcoin works, and then being able to build an actual product that users don't have to know any of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very hard problem. I mean, look at all of the products we have on Bitcoin, and like, why is Odin the first that has like, made this happen?
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the technical knowledge. You really have to know how to craft your architecture in a way that makes viable trade-offs for your users. If you're doing something that's like vaulting Bitcoin, like probably don't take this Odin model. But if you're doing meme coins, definitely use the Odin model. I think meme coin traders value speed over everything, and they're probably going to distrust your platform if it takes too long. And so it's about aligning your user with your use case, with like the value prop, with what the market wants, with your tech, and with the user experience. And if you can like hit shoot an arrow straight through all of those, then I think you have a winning product. And I think this is the message to anyone building in Bitcoin. I think we tend to nerd out or geek out a little bit on, not just a little bit, a lot of it.
A lot, yeah.
All the time on all of the interesting technical things happening. But in the end, I mean, we took a lot of inspiration from products like Polymarket, where if you ask probably 9 out of 10 users, what is Polymarket built on?
Even though it's in the name, nobody knows.
They'd be like, it's on the internet.
The blockchain, I heard.
It's an internet product. They might not even know it's on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And so being able to craft user experiences and abstract away the technology, I think this is the superpower of builders that are going to win on Bitcoin. If you look at L2s and sidechains and meta protocols, I think we're going to have this bloodbath of like trying to acquire users, acquiring developers, acquiring killer applications, because that is the currency. And I think everyone's going to be trying to do it, and it's already starting. And so you really have to like thread this needle on like, what do my users really want? How can I give it to them with the best possible user experience? And how can I make the best trade-offs on the technical side?
Hey, this is Will with Blockspace Media. And I don't know if you heard, but we just announced the second edition of our conference series, OpNext, now to be held at the MicroStrategy HQ in Tysons, Virginia.
That's right. After the success of our first scaling conference at Fidelity last fall, we're doing it again this spring, April 11th and 12th at the MicroStrategy HQ. I'm really excited for the programming. We have various stakeholders, industry, developers, and Bitcoin miners present.
So join us in April for open, neutral, and honest conversation about the leading proposals and technical solutions that will scale Bitcoin to the next billion users. No booths, no tokens, no shills, just Bitcoin and honest conversation.
You can find tickets and more information at opnext.dev or click below in the show notes.
Let's get into the weeds of Bitcoin technical discourse, which is kind of, I think, maybe the sidecar to this conversation, which is you have gone to great lengths to design these bridges and signature schemes and like figure out how to get users on and off chain. And I've spent the past couple of years. I just interviewed Giannis from Bitcoin Layers Now, Lemon Drop, talking about like just the challenges of like all the trust that's involved and all of like the limit. Like Bitcoin is very limiting to strength, but it can also be a weakness. So now we're now pretty deep we're well along like the Bitcoin consensus discussion, soft forks. You've got a few proposals out there.
Yep.
You're pretty in the weeds, even though I don't know if a few years ago you would have said you were like in the center of the Bitcoin ecosystem, but I feel like you are now. What are your thoughts on the current state of Bitcoin consensus discussion and discourse?
Yeah, I would say that I'm an optimist. I think we need optimists in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and so I'll gladly play that role. And I think we do need to upgrade Bitcoin. If you look at the current limitations of Bitcoin script and you look at the whole scene of like what people are building, there's like interesting things on the meta protocol layer and the sidechain layer and the state chain layer and the ARC layer and the L2 layer and BitVM and Taproot and basically, well, I guess I should add Lightning. I probably shouldn't not say Lightning in that list.
It's the best Bitcoin L2 that we have. That's saying something.
And I think that making the base layer better for everyone it's just going to make everyone better. It's going to give everyone superpowers. I mean, we could like get into the weeds on like, this opcode or that opcode, but I think there are lots of good solutions and all of them are going to be beneficial in moving Bitcoin forward.
If you could choose the best, what the most ideal path to take over the next, say, 2 years would look like as far as some of these proposals, do you have a particular preference for what that might look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of good options. I like cat, obviously. My Twitter PFP is a quantum cat. I've been rocking that cat for a while now. And I think that what Udi and Eric have done with creating this cultural shift with ordinals, I think is a perfect example of leveraging ordinals in a way that can drive change in the world. And a lot of people don't like Udi or Eric for what they say on Twitter, or
they're very fiery.
Yeah, but I mean that's their role, I think, and they lean into that very well. But cat is good because it's concatenation, but also mirrors a lot of what Merkle trees are, concatenation and hashing. And if you can do that, that gives you introspection and gives you covenants, and you can do lots of interesting things. But it is just a really simple fundamental building block. And there are other building blocks, but I do like adding in building blocks like this because, again, it makes every builder on Bitcoin better. It allows you to create better privacy solutions, better bridging solutions, more secure experiences for Bitcoin users. Like to me, ossification is the enemy at this point. And if we stop now, then we lose out on future growth, future gains. And so we should come together and figure out the best step forward as a Bitcoin community. So
back to Odin.fun. You've been treading water, managing to keep the platform alive, which is amazing. I remember it stumbled a bit the first couple of days, but you got it back online. It was amazing. It was a crazy effort I think you guys managed to pull off. But it's online. You've got users, coming out your ears right now. What's the next few months look like? Yeah, I think on the Odin.fun side, the past month has been fantastic, and we've had a lot of growth and a lot of adoption by the community. The community has been absolutely fantastic, posting, videos and songs and memes and explainers on social media and sharing it with their friends. Odin.fun would not be where it is today without the community driving it. But looking at the big picture, I mean, this is like the first step. We've taken one step into the spotlight, and we have, this is like a marathon. I think our goal is Bitcoin meme coins should be the de facto place to trade meme coins. I think, we can look over in the Solana ecosystem, and there are a lot of network effects there. But it's also kind of like a dumpster fire. In a way. Yeah. And so can we create a superior experience? Basically look at Solana as a blockchain, look at Bitcoin as a blockchain. Can we mirror the ethos, the decentralization, the security of Bitcoin in creating a meme coin platform that is the best meme coin platform of all time? And I think that's the goal. I mean, it's nothing short of, we want to go head to head with the Solana ecosystem. We think degens should be holding Bitcoin. They should be stacking sats. They should find ways to continue to stack more sats. And it should be on the world's greatest, most decentralized blockchain. I hear you. It sounds like you're pretty token protocol agnostic when you say that. Runes obviously is where Odin gets its nomenclature, its name, but we don't know what the future of Bitcoin meme coins look like. And also we've seen empirically that users do not care what type of token they're trading. They care exclusively about the ticker and the vibe. Does Odin.fun perhaps move beyond runes if the market so signals that might be worthwhile? Yeah, I think our unique value proposition is meme coins on Bitcoin, or probably even more broadly, just tokens. Yeah. Bitcoin tokens. So anything that falls in Bitcoin tokens, I mean, that's a large umbrella. Very big. I don't care what meta protocol it is. If it has traction, we will integrate it into Odin.
if, so runes, BRC20 is the next low-hanging fruit. But there are dozens of other meta protocols, and there's no reason why we can't open up the umbrella to everything, even counterparty. There's some really good provenance stories around counterparty assets or colored coins if you go way back, even rare sats. Like any of these could come and be integrated into Odin. Like, why not trade rare sats? Why not trade pizza sats as a meme coin? It is. It is a meme coin. All of these various categories, it's essentially like whatever users want, we can integrate. And so we are taking kind of a layer 0 approach to kind of interoperability here, where I think people should be able to bring their Solana and swap it to Bitcoin on Odin and then go. I think people should be able to log in with their Ethereum wallet, log in with MetaMask, deposit some ETH, and in 2 minutes, you're ready to go swap. And so have like a BTC ETH pair, have a BTC Sol pair. And I'm almost viewing this as like a black hole of sorts. Like, imagine you bring your wallet and you have all these assets and you can just be like, yes, convert to Bitcoin, yes, convert to Bitcoin, yes, convert to Bitcoin. And then you're just like ready to go and to trade.
It seems like all the coolest products that like actually make me excited to wake up in the morning are like things which are just the most pragmatic approach to what users really want, and then just kind of either putting bumpers around their experience, which does orient them towards Bitcoin ultimately. And that's just kind of what makes us excited. I feel like this is a very exciting period probably for you because like you have really iterated in our ecosystem, and like it seems like you caught fire. So I wish you the absolute best, and I hope you're very excited, and I hope you get enough sleep over the next few months.
Thank you.
And where do people find you, and how do they, I don't know, what's the call to action here?
Yeah, call to action is, I can sit up here and we can talk and talk and talk, and I think that's great, and there's a place for that. But you just have to go try it. You just need to go log in with your Bitcoin wallet, just deposit $10, $20 of Bitcoin or something like that, and then go and just buy something. Go find a token you like and go and buy it, and then, 2 seconds later it'll be done, and you'll be like, oh, like that's it? Oh, that was like, that felt pretty good. Like, there's something about actually experiencing it as a user. The thing that I tell people to try is you can go set your quick buy at the top to quadruple 01. So that's .00001 BTC. So that's about $1. And then you can go to our quick buy, which is just our main all tokens page. And you can just click the button as much as you want. There's nothing in the UI that stops you from repeatedly clicking the button. And then these little toast notifications show up in the bottom and start stacking up. And then you can hover over those notifications and it'll fan them out for you, and you can see them all get completed. And so just go and do 20 purchases. You can do 20 purchases in like 10 seconds, 8 seconds. And it's just like, and then just go hover over the toast notifications and they'll all just be completed. Like it's like superpowers for a DJ.
Superpowers for a DJ, trading at the speed of clicks. This is awesome. Bob, thank you so much for coming on Bitcoin Season 2 finally.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.